Accused of being partly responsible for her daughter's death, Jessica Greatorex today made her first appearance in court since being granted bail a month ago.
Are you happy to be on bail?
Yes.
In new details, police allege 22-year-old Greatorex failed to call an ambulance for 20-month-old Hayley Rose, who was found in her Taro home suffering head, chest and internal injuries, including broken ribs and a punctured lung. She died on June 19.
Nothing else to say?
No comment.
Today, Greatorex's solicitor, Mark Hanlon, successfully applied to have a number of her bail conditions varied, but was unable to convince Magistrate David Price to allow her supervised access to a family member. The police prosecutor told the court Greatorex still runs the risk of being taken back into custody should a detention application be made, and that the 22-year-old should consider herself fortunate to have bail at all. Greatorex's former partner, 26-year-old Timothy Whiteley, has already been charged with the toddler's murder and remains in custody. Greatorex will have her matter mentioned again next month. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
Inspectors came knocking this morning, issuing emergency orders to shut down 3 boarding houses Newcastle Council says are fire hazards.
These 3 properties are essentially a death trap.
The compliance breaches, it says, have been uncovered during a citywide audit.
The decision to issue the order that shut down these 3 properties was not taken lightly, but to be frank, it was the only decision that we could take. There is a number of works that have been done that simply do not comply with the fire safety code.
Former Newcastle councillor Aaron Buman owns the boarding houses at Carrington and Mayfield. Those currently staying there say he provides a vital service.
Aaron's like a father figure to us, he's given us a second chance.
Aaron begged them just give us a couple extra days just, so we can stay here while the work's getting done, and they said no.
I've lived here for the last 5 months. I come from a rehabilitation in Sydney. I've come quite comfortable living here. It's a dry house.
The decision leaves occupants, some recovering drug addicts, others on parole, with just 14 days to vacate. Council says it's working closely with support agencies to find alternate accommodation.
We are committed to making sure that none of these people who, through no fault of their own, have been placed in this very unfortunate situation, don't have a bed.
I'm extremely worried for other people as well, not just myself.
We really don't know where we're going to go, so back on the streets.
Sam Burbury, NBN News.
Getting the wheels turning on connecting our coastline. Lake Macquarie Council proposing an extension to the Fernley track to run a little further than its end at Belmont.
We know there's 200,000 people use the Fernley track every year. We know how important it is to our community for lifestyle, for livability, having people to be able to get out, ride, walk and just enjoy the area.
The extension hopes to give the commute to work a run for its money, connecting Swansea and Adamstown along one stretch. Also encouraging active travel and seeing drivers swap their cars for pedals.
There's a lot of people out there in the community who would cycle more if there were safer options. And this is a safe option. It's getting people off the road onto a dedicated cycle path.
The proposed extension includes 3.5 kilometres of shared pathway to join Belmont to Blacksmiths Beach. This would add up to almost 30 kilometres of walking and cycling track to fill the missing link between Lake Macquarie and Newcastle.
So this has a potential to be a real big game changer and bring people from all over Australia and outside of Australia.
The proposal will be submitted to the state government this Friday. Lauren Kemp, NBN News.
It's only one in the 100 at the moment. We do have plans to open up another one further down the line, which will cater for the upper hunter. That money is used locally. It goes back into the homeless, goes back into a lot of our other programs as well.
And, we're keeping a very close eye on Sam. She's been into our camp environment as an invitee, and she was here yesterday helping us to prepare for the match. So, she's very keen. She just needs to take those extra steps towards getting her own ball, things like that, which, I'm certain that she'll keep improving, particularly if she's going to be that experienced head in the Giants back line. So, you never know.
Samuel Jordan is there, and Sam, not long to wait now.
Yeah, that's right, Mitch. It's just over an hour until the game is going to be getting underway, and I'm told that it definitely will be getting underway. There'll be no repeat of the court fiasco that saw the Sydney Kings basketball game called off at this venue just a few weeks ago. Tonight, it'll be a full house, more than 4,500 watching what is a big night for Australian netball. The Diamonds have spoken candidly this week about just how much losing the Commonwealth Games final to England by that agonising one-goal margin did hurt them, and admitted that they did underestimate the Roses on that occasion. That won't be a problem tonight, though. The Aussies are well aware they have plenty to improve on after their series opening win against South Africa. England comfortably accounted for New Zealand in its first outing. Meanwhile, the Diamonds have been here in Newcastle in camp this week. Coach Lisa Alexander had some encouraging words for the city's only super netball player, Sam Pullman.
We're keeping a very close eye on Sam. She's been into our camp environment as an invitee, and she was here yesterday helping us to prepare for the match. So, she's very keen. She just needs to take those extra steps towards getting her own ball, things like that, which, I'm certain that she'll keep improving.
So, promising signs for Pullman's future, but for now, the focus is on tonight, the Diamonds' first match in Newcastle in 6 years. And Mitchie, you can catch all the action live and free on 9Gem from 7:30.
Thanks, Sammy.
It's not often there's this much attention on a trial, but for Time, her connections and Everest backers, today was a big test. Chris Lees paced the yard, while longtime hoop Corey Brown made the trip up from Sydney. What followed was pleasing, to say the least.
I thought she trialled very well. Corey was happy with her.
I haven't felt her feel this good since I've been riding her in the 12 months, so she's on song.
Out of the gate, she made her presence felt, quickly moving to the front before settling on the outside around the bend. Brown took the foot off down the straight. She was pipped by a fast-finishing Eldorado Dreaming, the two Ben Smith horses now training under Lees.
I got a pretty good understanding of her. Ben was very helpful. had a good chat with him, and the transition was pretty easy, I feel, for the horse. We won't be changing much, and the program that they had mapped out will stay the same.
Lees has been in close contact with Smith.
He's doing a bit tough, understandably. It's a big shock, and he's got a process to go through and got good support around him, so he'll be fine.
Eldorado Dreaming was yesterday cleared to return after an irregular swab sample and will likely head to Caulfield on Sunday week, while In No Time will line up in the Premier Stakes alongside 6 other confirmed Everest runners.
It'll be a really strong Premier Stakes, but certainly gives us a guide where we're at.
In No Time may not be Lees' only Everest runner. Le Romain is well in contention for a slot.
More the merrier.
Samuel Jordan, NBN News.
Despite the blustery conditions, the professionals were in good spirits. After grabbing second on Tuesday at Merewether, Jake Higginbottom was one of the favourites at Murree. He's preparing for a big finish to the year, trying to secure his Asian Tour card.
Keep playing solid and hopefully have a few higher results than what I've been having. It should be okay. And then I'm going to play New South Wales Open and Australian Open. So hopefully I can play right there and wrap up my Aussie card too.
Higginbottom's ultimate goal is the European Tour, but he's decided to skip qualifying school and will regroup for another attempt in 2019. His top priority at home is the Australian Open.
I probably won't play the PGA this year. I think I'll be in Mauritius instead. But yeah, definitely want to play well in the Aussie Open, especially with the British Open spots too.
Lee McKechnie is facing a different battle after losing his Australian Tour card. He's preparing for a host of state opens, but he's no certainty to play in our biggest event.
I'd have to pre-qualify for the Australian Open and then maybe Q School in December and then just sort of go from there. If not, might take a different avenue and look into a different line of work.
After 21 years on tour, 2018 could be his last.
Might stay in the golf industry, looking at maybe a club job or work in a sales sort of role. But for the next couple of months, certainly just head down, bum up and play as good as I can.
The Pro-Am Series moves to Nelson Bay tomorrow.
Jim and June Gray met when they were 20, and for the past 62 years they've lived in their Cardiff home.
It's all our life we've done things together. We've never had a him or a hers, it's always been ours. And everything we've done together, and that's why it's important to stay here.
June lives with dementia, and although caring for her comes with its challenges, it's where they want to be. 70% of Australians who have dementia live at home, and a new book, My Home, My Life, helps families like the Greys. The co-author and director of Hammond Care's Dementia Centre has turned clinical knowledge into 280 practical tips for staying at home.
Often people get frustrated because they don't understand what the person's trying to tell them. We actually wrote it with somebody who has dementia so that we made sure that we were getting the messages people with dementia wanted to share and the messages that carers wanted to share with each other.
The Greys modified their bathroom and receive at-home care most days. But when professional help isn't around, it's tips like this that make a difference.
You might be saying, oh, they keep wandering, leaving the house. Turn the porch light off and turn the toilet light on, because during the night when somebody wakes up, they'll be drawn to the light, but they probably got up because they needed to go to the toilet.
Ideas that can help keep couples together.
I like it here for the reason that June loves the garden, and then we can sit out the back there and look at the trees, and it does a lot for her.
Georgia Marr, NBN News.
Young mum Chantel Martin is a recent graduate of the Salvation Army's Drive for Life program and says it's helped her achieve a life goal.
It gave me the opportunity to have my licence and to be able to now get out in the world and look for work, look after my family.
It's considered a rite of passage for young people, but some need extra help.
It's just about helping those young people who don't have support around them to be able to get their licence or accrue their hours, and get them to the point of having that freedom of being behind the wheel.
20 people are currently moving through the program, which provides professional lessons, mentoring and financial support. Glencore has pledged $100,000 for its continuation and expansion into Singleton.
I think all of us can remember the thrill of actually getting our licence for the first time, and this is removing a lot of the impediments that a lot of young people and people in financially challenged positions can actually find.
For Chantel, the people were the key.
The program was amazing because I had really great volunteers that built my confidence. I've never been able to jump in a car without having a panic attack until the Drive for Life program, so they helped me heaps.
Hunter Oasis is looking for more volunteers to work as mentors, a chance to help someone else find freedom.
It's all about showing people the pathways that are in aviation for aspiring aviators all the way through to people who later on in life want to become involved in aviation.
Usually adventurous, the Hunter Valley Zoo lemurs were today keeping a low profile. Mum Zalo nursing newborn twins, leaving Dad Zenny and sister Jules to grapple with our cameraman. They were born on Saturday. Baby number 1, a joy. Number 2, a welcome surprise.
Been on bump watch for a couple of weeks, but I definitely wasn't expecting twins. So she had a baby last year, so she sort of knows the ropes, but obviously twins double the work. But she's very attentive to them, so she's doing a really great job.
Every extra ringtail zoos can breed helps preserve the now endangered species. Vital work, given the population in the wild has fallen by almost 50% worldwide since the 80s.
It's common for them obviously to have one, but when there's food in abundance, they'll regularly have twins. So it means that we're doing a good job.
Yet to be given names, the newborns will remain close to mum for a few more weeks before beginning to explore their surroundings.
By 3-4 weeks, they're holding onto her back, and they will stay there for quite a while, until about 5 months old, and then they'll start climbing around a little bit.
Sam Burbury, NBN News.
Really happy that when they came back at us, we were able to push it out again, which we weren't able to do at Com Games. So incredibly proud of the growth that we've had since then, but mate, we've got a long way to go.
The blue kit remains the Jets' first choice, but the alternate strips are now predominantly white and black.
For the guys in that going to games on a Friday night and wanting to go out after, it's quite a casual looking strip, looks good.
The unveiling coincided with Inspirations Paint agreeing to a new 3-year sponsorship deal.
When I came on 2 years ago, they were here and they've stuck by the club. You know, we went through some hard times, but these guys have stuck with us, which we really respect.
It's a small local Newcastle company that's grown to a $300 million company, and the Jets are a wonderful partnership for us.
As for the players, striker Kane Shepherd played limited minutes in Avondale's loss to Sydney FC in the FFA Cup. He's expected to feature in the Victorian NPL Grand Final on Sunday before joining the Jets full-time. With Brazilian Jair also signing on, Roy O'Donovan will have to fight for his spot when he returns from suspension in round 9.
I missed the first 8 games this season. That's frustrating, but I'm keeping fit, keeping sharp, and I'll be ready to go. I'll prove people wrong, as I always do.
Ben Kantarovski has overcome a calf complaint and should see game time against Edgeworth on Saturday. He's welcoming competition in midfield, provided by Kiwi international Matthew Redenton.
Maybe last year we lacked a little bit at times and the boys had to dig real deep, but I think this year we've got a lot of depth across the whole squad and a good quality depth at that.
All eyes are on these two heading into Sunday's decider, but for Souths, their day starts far earlier. The Lions are the only club with 3 teams playing on Grand Final day: Firsts, Opens and Ladies League Tack.
Shows just how strong we are as a club, and I think it just shows how good our culture is there. Everyone up high at South, they've really put in a lot of work, and think they've done a great job at rebuilding our club. I think we're a bit like Lakes, we're a bit younger than most other sides, and I think that's probably helped both us and Lakes this year.
For Ryan Glanville, that means a lot. His family has a strong connection with South, and on the eve of the finals, he was handed the captaincy. Since then, the 5'8" has gone to another level.
Yeah, definitely. I think started to really sort of feel comfortable with my role again, and I think just everyone's been probably pretty confident heading into each game, and I think that's really helped.
It's no surprise his best 2 games have also been the Lions' best, and they'll need that form against Lakes. It'll be their 3rd meeting in 5 weeks. Their last was the hard-fought qualifying final win.
I think that's probably the toughest game of footy I've played. I think we're probably just lucky, got a few calls go our way against Lakes in that finals game, and I think I think I'll be ready for this game. I think it'll really go down to the wire.
Glanville says it's his first real grand final. Luckily, he has some experience to lean on. Dad Mark, a Knights premiership legend.
He certainly knows everything about football. He's got a pretty good mind towards it, so it'd be pretty stupid not to ask him a few tips, I guess.
What began as a way to get Hunter Christian School students involved in the outdoors turned into this.
I thought we'd have 60 to 70 kids. We've actually got more like 220 to 230 kids today, so it's absolutely crazy.
Not bad for the inaugural event, the all-schools mountain bike race.
A lot of people say cross-country racing is dead. It's not exciting at all.
Proving otherwise after a couple of high fives and some pump-up beats. A huge field for the under-13s class. Their course was all about inclusion.
Well, the under-13s have modified the course slightly to make it so there's barely any climbing at all. And that's to try and encourage people to come back. If they're having fun by just riding the flat, smooth, flowy sections, then it's probably going to be more likely the case.
Mid-North Coast's Tom Worth was first across the line.
Pretty good, but I'm still a bit sore from the race. On the first lap, I probably went a bit hard at the start, and then I was a bit tired.
The older riders getting a little more action.
There's a nice quarry with a massive big jump in the middle of the course.
As an after-school activity, it's just as popular.
If you come to Glenrock on a Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday, there's often 50 to 70 kids being coached for not necessarily cross-country, but for doing jumps and being able to ride more safely.
Georgia Ma, NBN News.
The way of the future, designed and manufactured right here in the Hunter, and now well within the reach of the next generation of inventors. With the formalities out of the way, the fun could finally begin for those lucky enough to be given a sneak peek at this year's Makers Festival. Their eyes lighting up as they got their hands on the latest gadgets, From the smaller robots,
So they've got like a little sensor underneath them so that it senses all the colours, and then instead of programming it on a computer, you program it with pens and paper.
to the robots so big they can stop traffic.
We're developing a fully autonomous traffic management drone. That's going to revolutionise traffic management. People can be off the road and control the vehicle. They don't have to be out there holding up the lollipop signs.
Solar, electric, automatic. Engineers in training from the University of Newcastle have even designed a boat that can steer itself.
Everyone gets their own boat, but we have to modify it to have it perform tasks autonomously.
And far from reinventing the wheel, many of the devices on display here provide practical solutions to real-world problems.
We're great at inventing things, and the challenge is to turn that into jobs here for Australians.
Tomorrow the festival opens to the public for the first time, and organisers are expecting around about 3,000 people through the gates. So clearly this festival is just getting started. Jacinta Lee, NBN News. For 15 years, respected line pilot, aviation trainer and granddad Kevin Ratcliffe has been flying people out of harm's way, getting them to life-saving medical treatment, a career where the years have literally flown by.
I never fail to be surprised and pleasantly surprised about just how many folks come back and say, "You flew me back in 2000 and something." And of course they have to remind me what it was all about, because of course we're doing that all the time.
The 61-year-old having more than earned time with his family, hugely thankful for the chance to serve others.
There's two parts to it. Yes, well, I'd love to be out there, we're doing what we're doing, helping them out, but the flip side of that, of course, is I know that they seriously appreciate what we do, and they give, and they keep giving.
Today meant to be a fond farewell from colleagues, but instead Kevin was called out to a rescue mission in Kurri Kurri. A 33-year-old male road worker was hit by a four-wheel drive, thrown into a ditch on impact. Thankfully, he was flown to John Hunter Hospital in a stable condition, where he's now recovering. And maybe one day, he'll be one of those people who bump into Kevin, reminding the retiree of the day he saved his life. Jacinta Lee, NBN News.
The crash happened just before 2 o'clock this morning when the driver lost control of an alleged stolen Subaru on the Pacific Highway at Charlestown. The car struck a garden bed, narrowly missed a petrol bowser at the service station and eventually came to rest when it crashed into a parked car nearby. Inside were 3 people.
When near the intersection of Frederick Street, it's collided with the service station and an unattended vehicle there bursting into flames. Luckily for the occupants, they were able to escape the vehicle, and when police and emergency services arrived, the male driver and a female passenger were taken to the John Hunter Hospital.
Another male passenger was taken to hospital but has since been released. Police are yet to formally interview those involved because of their condition, but it's members of the public they wish to speak to.
We believe the vehicle was allegedly stolen, so there's a number of lines of inquiry. But right now we're looking for witnesses, particularly that time 2 a.m. near the intersection of the Pacific Highway and Frederick Street.
Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. As for the petrol station, it remained closed for most of the day while crash investigators worked to piece together the incident, only reopening late this afternoon.
With clever finishing like this on show, it's clear the A-League season is drawing closer.
We'll have close to our starting 11 and the same against Wanderers next week. But Edgeworth will be a good test for us. They're a good team.
Ronald Vargas will play close to 90 minutes, Mitch Austin around 75, given a chance to lock down the left wing position. And an appearance from Ben Kanarowski, now injury-free.
We're virtually over all our injuries apart from the longer term ones.
But there'll be no Jair.
Jair's trained all weekend at the end of last week, so he's doing double sessions every day and he's participated in some game-type practices, although not all of them. Hopefully he'll be ready to have a run in the next match against the Wanderers.
Kick-off is at midday at Jack McLaughlin Oval, also raising money for our drought-stricken farmers. Players have donated non-perishable items to be sent out west and hope fans tomorrow can do the same.
Regardless of how the Enduros go, I definitely think we'll be in or on the grid in Newcastle in some capacity. What? We'll just have to wait and find out.
When Lakes United won the 2015 Premiership, they were initially tipped to finish last. So when this season's form came out, they were licking their lips.
Oh mate, we loved that at the start of the year when they said, yeah, tipped to come 7th. That gets a bit of fire in the belly. And it's been a tough year, but that's it. Through adversity, we've come through it well. And yeah, we're putting it out on the park.
It was a fair prediction, losing their revered skipper Chris Adams and coach Dean Noonan. But as is the Lakes culture, they banded together and found a way. Sean Boss came to the club 2 years ago. Now captain, he says their attitude was best illustrated at last Sunday's preliminary finals.
Majority of firsts were there to watch 19s and third grade run around, even though we didn't kick off till 3. The community, the committee, the helpers, everything's amazing out there. Like, I can't think of a better club in the Newcastle comp. They're outstanding.
The Seagulls mentality is simple.
We're head down, ass up. We do our work, get the job done.
Refocused after their semi-final loss to South.
We had a few little things we wanted to fix after the game against South. We had a big week at training that week, and then we played against Curry, and I thought we fixed those things, and we're coming into this game with a little bit of wind behind us.
And they're hoping for a bit of luck too. It's Coach Todd Edwards' 5th local grand final. So far, he's lost every one.
Oh mate, the boys, we've been into him all week and we've been having a laugh and a joke about it, but that's it. I think he's the most nervous man at Lakes United at the moment.
Young and carefree, these kids are blissfully unaware that moving their playground away from the crumbling coastline is only a temporary solution.
This was all about buying us time.
Relocating the outdoor area took months and cost more than $45,000. The change was forced upon the childcare centre, powerful swell undermining the previous playground, as well as unearthing a toxic dump and several sunken ships nearby.
It's been an interesting 9 months since our journey with erosion started in Stockton. For the staff, it's been a really tough time for them, and I'm so proud of the work that they've done in maintaining a quality program for our children.
Although the state government has pledged money to help experts develop a long-term plan to fix the erosion problem, the beachside complex itself appears doomed. Newcastle Council is currently refusing to renew the lease when it expires mid-2020 unless a solution is found soon.
We're going to be looking for other opportunities and locations to potentially redevelop in Stockton. They'll be definitely away from coastal erosion predictions that Council have provided.
Sam Burbury, NBN News.
From the big picture to planting ideas, the Living Smart Festival in Lake Macquarie had everyone thinking today.
We know how important it is that we need to reduce our footprint, and this is all about us being more responsible.
Close to 30,000 people came to learn how to grow, eat and live more sustainably, whether it was reducing emissions and food waste or cultivating your own garden and cooking it up. There was something for everyone to learn. The biggest crowd was pulled by War on Waste mastermind Craig Rucastle.
It's great to have festivals like this because people get to engage with new ideas and find out new things they can do. And look, this is a great area, Lake Macquarie, because you've actually got food recycling, which is hopefully something the rest of the country is going to follow.
We have a contamination rate of less than 1%. Now that's amazing. That tells me that the Lake Macquarie residents are really big on recycling. They know how important it is.
There was plenty for the young scholar too, with stories passed down from our first people and getting acquainted with some natives, while this boy learnt just how much energy it takes to power up.
I want to teach people about energy efficiency. So we've got 3 different lights. We've got LEDs, or halogens, and we've got the old filaments lights, and people pedal the bike.
We're from Upcycle Newcastle, and we're making our Circle of Waste rug, which is made out of hundreds of old t-shirts.
A growing community which doesn't want to mug the environment. Georgia Marr, NBN News.
It's a story that lots of people think they know and that lots of people love because people love drinking wine. But really what we saw as we began to research the story was that there were patches of misunderstanding and gaps in the story.
Sambar and Zusain race to the front together. They're clear from Lean Mean Machine. Graf is starting to wind up, and the Autumn Sun. Zusain got to the front from Graf and the Autumn Sun motoring. Zusain in front. The Autumn Sun's levelling up late. They hit it. The Autumn Sun. He's come from last. What a superstar. The Autumn Sun got up to beat Zusain and Graf. Then Sandbar from Santos to now Lean Mean Machine. Seabrook and Tchaikovsky.
With the A-League season fast approaching, today was a prime chance for fans to see just how their Jets is shaping up. There was just a little bit of rust from kick-off, but it only took minutes for the Jets to find their rhythm despite some desperation from Edgeworth. The Eagles tried their luck, but they were on the back foot, saved by some impressive tackles and by some impressive glove work. But there was absolutely no stopping Dimi Petrados' second. A struggle at the back saw the ref wave play on and the Jets gifted a third. Although the first effort was stopped, Ronnie Vargas wouldn't be held out.
I thought we scrapped early for the ball, and when we did win the ball, we kept possession, moved forward quickly, which is really our style of football, and we did that for the whole game. So it was a really, really good workout for us.
The second half started similar to the first, a goal within seconds. Mitch Austin and Jason Hoffman combining, Hoffman also bagging the fifth and final goal, while Austin impressed the coach. He's all but locked down that left wing role.
And it was his third game in 12 months. And he's just getting better every game. As you saw, his turn of pace is incredible.
Promisingly, Vargas and skipper Nigel Bogard saw big minutes today, while Petrados looks to have gone to another level.
The call up to the Socceroos has undoubtedly boosted his belief in himself and his confidence and his work rate. And now we've got an all-round type of player in Dimi. He can defend, he can create, and he can score goals. He's a bit special for us.
It's long been called for and will soon light the heart of a city.
A flame that will burn forever here in our civic park.
The eternal flame, a symbol of gratitude and remembrance of the fallen. And Newcastle's first will soon be built here, in front of the World War II monument.
This will be a place where people can come to reflect on both the service and sacrifice of those men and women, but also a point of reflection and a reminder of the very real human costs of war.
Announced today, it's taken $100,000 from council and $45,000 from the state government to make it happen. But the importance and significance of the eternal flame is worth so much more.
It means a lot. It gives something to us who can drive past this place, see it on the side of the road and know exactly what it is, what it was for.
The monument will feature the same black granite as the current memorial, coupled with LED lights, the flame created by water vapour. Work to build the eternal flame will begin tomorrow and is expected to take around 4 weeks. While it will be finished by the end of October, It won't be until Armistice Day on the 11th of the 11th that the flame will be lit. A symbol of solidarity and remembrance that will never dim. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
I could not draw a stick man to save my life. It's one of the things I'm worst at, but I do love it. I love checking it out, and hopefully they, raise a bit of money today because it's for a great cause.
"5 days, 150 kilometres from Seal Rocks on the mid-north coast to Dudley in Lake Macquarie. It's Charlie's Run for Kids. I'm joined by the directors here today, and Shane, when Dudley puts on a party, the whole town turns out.
Yeah, it's one pretty big party, mate, to be honest. We know we've got a great support with this charity in this local community, but still, you come down that hill, it just blows you away to see the amount of people that are here.
Brett, you were so generous with your time last weekend, you and Mel telling the story about Charlie. We've had an amazing response, a great way to start the week.
Just to watch the guys and girls run in the air on the freeway, it's amazing. And to get back here in Dudley and to see the support from the local community, it's amazing. It's overwhelming, really.
Rick, you and Shane both ran today. This is the final day, and it started from Warrabrook on the outskirts of Newcastle, worked its way through a couple of suburbs to the start of the Fernley track at Adamstown, where you picked up about 100 runners, and most of them were kids.
All the kids love it. They come out, support us. It really helps us get through the last 5Ks of the leg, and it's just a pleasure to have them come along and join us.
And of course, an amazing turnout here at Dudley, where the runners arrived at around midday. Let's take a look.
Brett said to me there was going to be a fair few people here, but have a look at it. It's just like, I don't know, man. Charlie would be so stoked.
Charlie's just going to live forever through this, and yeah, it's amazing.
Don't know what to expect every year when you come down, but everyone turns up and puts on a show for us.
Overwhelming, amazing, happy, sad, and thankful.
And of course, Charlie's Run for Kids is not just a celebration of life, it's also a charity event, and each year they pick out a special child. Arlo Matthews is this year's recipient. How's he doing, Shane?
I spoke to his dad last night, and Arlo sent me a message this morning with him waving to us to wish all the runners good luck. So, I mean, getting that, it's just like, he's doing as good as he can at the moment, but it was very cool.
Our thoughts are with Arlo, but Brett, just as we say goodbye, how proud must Charlie be today?
When we were here this morning, it was just cloudy, it was cold. When the runners run in, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful, and I know Charlie, she'd be looking down at this and she'd be fist pumping like she always did. So, she'd be super proud.
Well, congratulations to you all and everyone that was involved as we say goodbye for Charlie's Run for Kids for another year.